Alrighty, guys. So today we're going to be doing a sort of a, a mildly in-depth critique of the first Descendant and the state that the game is at, and stuff like that. I don't really have a whole bunch of things I want to talk about when it comes to this, so that's why I say it's mildly in-depth. Um, but there are a couple of things I do want to address and give my thoughts on and
If there's
stuff like
something you
that.
need, you'll know
Um,
today.
okay, I was just checking to see. So let's go ahead and open up the shop here. So let me see here. Support items. Yeah, okay. So my personal opinion on crystallization catalysts being readily available for unlimited amounts of caliber is, I mean, I don't necessarily have something against that, but I would rather it just be delegated to the special bundles like stuff like this. Like you got like every descendant has a bundle. Well, not every descendant, but Glay, Bunny, and Freyna, and of course Nell. They all have bundles that contain. Yeah, see, Nell has 10 catalysts right there in that one, and this one she has three. um, Freyna comes with two. Let's see. Okay, I'm assuming that all three of these, yeah, they all come with two. Okay. Um, and like I said, I'm not like, oh, it's such a horrible thing that they're readily available for um, being purchased in virtually unlimited amounts. I don't think that, but I also kind of feel like, this shouldn't just be something that's in the shop at all times. I feel like it should be kind of part of those bundles, and then the rest of the time you would just grind it in game. Um, as for the rest of these items, I feel like, these being here is just fine. I don't think that any of these are really going to, yeah, like make it quote unquote pay to win or what have you. Um, Now the energy activators here, I have no issue with these being in the shop for, um, you know, to be able to purchase however much you want. I mean, firstly because it's 1200, and secondly because it's just energy activators, right? They're not as impactful to the game as crystallization catalysts are. So yeah. Um, Now I do want to bring up the points of the whole the community assessment that they drip feed content. I agree and disagree with that. I kind of feel like you know it's like, okay, well, if you sit here and you're buying every descendant as they come out, and then you're like getting them finished in a single day and all this stuff, like I get it, you know what I mean? It's not really hard to 12 slot a descendant in one day. I understand that. But you can't be one of these people who buys every single descendant the second they come out, who sits here and finishes that descendant. You get them from arcade level 1 to 40 within a single sitting, and then complain that there's no content to play. That doesn't make sense. However, I do see the argument that so far, to an extent, I see it. I'm not in full agreement with it, but I understand it. That so far season 3 is kind of drip feeding content. Now, yes and no. When we come to Axian Plains here, we have 6 races we can do, which is great. We have an entire area where we can just farm the resources and stuff like that. And Sigma Sector is kind of the same thing, right? But Sigma Sector is mission based, whereas this is just another area that we can futz around in and stuff like that. Kind of like the main story missions and whatnot, or the main story areas, not missions. And so, I mean, we have Wall Crasher. He's kind of like he appears in the style of a world boss in Diablo, which I think is really cool. And then we come over to Void Abyss. We have Stormhanger, right? Which I've already defeated. Um, both times I've done the challenge with some help, of course. Definitely not by myself, but my Nell did hold out pretty well, especially against basic Stormhanger. Um, and so we have that, and we have, of course, the Battle Pass as well, which does give you a bunch of stuff. I do always recommend picking up the Battle Pass because I believe it's only $15 or no, $10. I'm sorry, it's only 500 and something caliber. It's $10. Definitely worth the purchase every season, in my opinion. That's just me. Because resources that you're getting from it, like, dude, it saves you so much in game time. It's unreal, right? Like if my fellow wasn't max level, this would have probably maxed him out right here. But you get so much stuff from this. It's just always worth it. And then you get 300 caliber from it as well, which is really really good. You want that 300 caliber. That's very valuable to have. um, I'm not necessarily one of those people who gets bored of doing the same mission for a few runs to get what I need. I know that there are people out there who are like that, who don't necessarily like playing like that. But, like I said, like if you're just buying everything as soon as it comes out, every Descendant, every Ultimate Descendant, etc., then how do you have any leg to stand on when you're sitting here and saying that there's nothing to do in the game, that there's no content in the game? You don't, because if you make that choice, and of course, you know what I mean, it's your money, you do what you want with it, that's perfectly fine. But don't sit here and act like you couldn't have, given yourself more content by just going the free-to-play route like I have for 99% of my Descendants. You're looking at the only Descendant that I've ever purchased right here. You're looking at her. As for all of these have either came from the tickets or I've grinded for them. So, and I sold Viessa and Base Frena along with Base Bunny. So I would have 16 right now, but or no, 15. I'm sorry, because I got Base Bunny back from the booster. But yeah. So, and before anyone asks, I do have over. I think I have just 500 hours in this game. I think I just hit that. Either that or I'm really, really close. So I have put some time into this game, not as much as other people, but I've definitely put some time into this game. So while I do see the argument that, yeah, there's no content, at the same time, I don't see how people who are buying everything the millisecond that it comes out are genuinely saying that with a straight face. And I saw someone on Twitter, replying to one of TFD's tweets and saying, oh, drip fed content, whatever. I was like, stop burning through the content in a single day. Genuinely. Because when Axiom Plains dropped, as for the actual story, it took me 2 to 3 days to complete it. I didn't just sit there and rush through it all. That's not the way that I like to do things. It's not, you know what I mean? Like the only time that I want to, okay, let's get it done, is when I'm trying to get one of my friends done in the main story so they can unlock everything and get the things that they want and that they need in the game. That's the only time where I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's go ahead, let's get her done. Otherwise I'm just completely chill. I grind my catalyst stuff, I grind like my Descendants, my arcade levels, etc. Like, you know what I mean? There's always something to do in the game, as long as you let yourself have something to do. That's my personal argument, right? Would I love for there to be more stuff from Season 3 to do? Absolutely, I get it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, people look at this, and they're like, okay, this is the entire game now. That's not how it is. That's not how it is at all. I guess I'll change the title of this to an in-depth critique on the communities. critique of the games. It's kind of a paradoxical thing. Um, excuse me. Um, but that's not all it is, and I understand. You know what I mean? Like you've completed everything. You don't want to go back to the main story. You don't want to go back and grind stuff. Blah 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 blah. You find that boring, but when you take away a core asset of the gameplay as such, right? When you're just sitting here, you're buying the Catalyst, you're buying the Descendants the minute they come out, you're doing all these things with your wallet. Of course, the game's going to feel empty. And while I do think it's great that you can buy these things instead of grind for them, I also do think there's a certain experience that you're missing out on if you just buy them instead of ever grinding for them. Because I know there's players out there who haven't grinded for a single thing that they've obtained besides getting Bunny in the main story. You know, that's only because that's objective based and it forces you to acquire money. And of course, the drops are guaranteed because it's story related. That's it. And it's just like, and these players are like, yeah, there's nothing to do. Of course not. Of course there isn't anything to do because you already paywalled your way through everything that there was to do, in a sense. Not every single thing, but I mean, it's just like I say, man. You know, if all you have left when Season 3 started was Axian Plains to grind, then of course there's nothing to do. It took me 2 to 3 days of serious grinding for Nell to actually get all the parts I needed. I was actually lucky compared to some of my friends. I thought I had it rough until I saw how long it took them. But maybe next time don't buy the new things the second they come out. Maybe grind for it a little bit. See how that goes for you. Because I grinded for Serena. I wanted to buy her, you know, and I was actually I wanted yeah, let's just say I wanted to buy her, but I didn't. You know, I grinded for her and I'm kind of glad I did. And it really wasn't that bad of a grind. The only one that I really didn't thoroughly enjoy was Haley. That's simply because it was login walled, right? Because you can only grind for her parts twice a day in 2 different areas on the map. So 4 times total. But I got her, of course, as you saw in my Descendant list. So do these things affect me in the way that I enjoy the game? At the end of the day, of course not. Right? I guess this is just me maybe giving the community a little bit of advice, you know, and being straight up and honest with them. Like, if you buy everything, like I said, this will be like the 3rd or 4th time now, you don't have a leg to stand on when you say, oh, this game has no content. You simply don't. I'm sorry, but you don't. Because if you haven't noticed, a big crux of the content for this game every season, every episode of said season's update is the Descendants. It's not necessarily the new things that they have to do that are involved in the game. They gave us a pretty big update here, right? Let's go back to Axiom Plains. We have 6 races we can do for rewards that we need, for resources that we need. 6. And they're going to add more as the episodes go on. I guarantee it. They're either going to add more or they're going to cycle these out for different ones. My times suck. Oh, speaking of, let me see if I can upgrade my bike. I can. Very nice. Anyway. Like I said, they're either going to cycle these out for different ones or they're just simply going to add more. Sorry for all the long pauses if I don't edit these out. I've been coughing and sneezing. I don't know. I think I got a little bit of hay fever going on. But yeah, I mean, listen, and I'm not trying to be biased and say, oh, this is the best game ever, because I don't believe that. But I do believe that this game is definitely good. It's fun. You know, it's a good game. It feels good to play. And at the end of the day, it's all up to you and and how many things you leave yourself to do or don't leave yourself to do, you know, when it comes to your wallet. Believe me, I spend money on this game. right? I mean, I don't drop fucking hundreds like some people do, but I definitely spend some money on this game. Let's take it. Just take a look at my skins here, right? Like I've got like 10 different skins just for Inez, and I'm going to get the H1 racing suit here very soon, and then after that, I'm probably going to go for the Hound training suit. Um, oh, let's talk about something good that the devs are doing and that they've delivered on. Oh man, I can't stop freaking sneezing. Let's go to this shop here. So, firstly, I want to address the reason why the Near Automata items are limited time offers. It's because that Nexon doesn't own the IP. That's it, right? They didn't create these skins. They're simply just adapting and porting them over into this game from Near Automata, the series. So they legally they cannot have these in their shop forever to be available. But we go to themed skins here. What do we see? On all these skins, what do we see? No time limit. That's for all of these skins. There's how many skins is this? 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 40, 40 skins. 40 skins. It's a lot of freaking skins. That's a lot. Excuse me, I'm sorry for all the sniffling. And then we have the premium skins as well. 6, 12. Let's go ahead and turn this off. Let's go back to theme skins actually and turn that off as well. Okay. Whoa, they made Gilded Blossom permanent? That's awesome. I thought that was going to be an LTO. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, right? I mean, and I love when a game does this, right? Because like they had LTO stuff that they were creating, and then they had enough community pushback to say, hey, you know, okay, we hear you, right? We're not gonna make everything limited. We're going to. Oh, that looks fucking sick, dude. We're going to make the skins readily available at any time, besides collaboration related skins. Yeah, I think this is such an amazing thing that they did. Oh, we have the accessories over here. Okay. I'm getting sidetracked here. Listen, I know this isn't going to necessarily stop anybody from being hypocritical and buying everything and saying, "Oh, there's no content, there's no." I get it. But like I said, maybe try not to do that every single season. Maybe actually grind for a character or two in the game and see how that goes for you. See how it goes. And I get it. RNG sucks, believe me. I play gotchas left and right all the time. I have thousands of hours put into them. And why I bring that up for people who don't know is because that the drops for the parts of Descendants are RNG based. Granted, the rates are a lot better than most RNG games. They're still RNG based. Or gotcha games, not RNG games. Same difference, I suppose. Anyway, I think that about does it. Like I said, I don't necessarily have any glaring qualms with the game. Anything that sets off alarm bells in my head. I think the game is just fine. You know, could it be better? Sure, but it could also be a hell of a lot worse. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching.